We're going to ask you to just hold on, keep hope alive. Don't cut off the line yet. We're going to be speaking right away to Honorable Yusuf Buba, who is the chairman, Foreign Affairs Committee in the House of Representatives. A number of the people in that committee have been able to come to, I think they went to Poland to be able to evacuate Nigerian students who have been able to make it across the border. Good morning, Honorable, and I'd like to find out from you if your team is still going to be going back with with Nigerian officials to see how they can evacuate even many more Nigerians who might be stranded in Ukraine.
Thank you so much. The work of the National Assembly is to oversight the activities of the executive. We are in Romania, and from what we have seen, we are very much satisfied with what the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and other relevant agencies are doing, more especially our embassies. So far, the coordination is good, and everything is working according to plan. And that was why when we came back with the first batch, you can see that other batches have been coming in successfully. So far we are in touch with the ministry, and we have not seen any hitches to warrant or going out immediately. Again, we are monitoring.
Okay, so I'm sure you must have been listening to the conversation we have been holding with Daniel, who is stranded alongside other students in Sumy in Ukraine. Do you have any word, any update on how we intend to get out our students who are stranded in Sumy out of that place?
Yes, I want to assure the students in Sumy, their parents and Nigerians that the Nigerian government is really on top of the matter. All the Nigerian government is trying to assure is their safety. That was why, as of yesterday, because on daily basis, I communicate with the ministry, with the permanent secretary, and what they want to achieve is to have a tripartite agreement between the Russian government, the Ukrainian government, and also the United Nations. So that talk is ongoing, so that by the time this evacuation will start, the students will be safe. It's not good to take chances because we are in a war situation. But our government is talking with these three different groups, that is the Ukrainian government, the Russia, and the United Nations. And I want to assure these students that they should be calm. I know it's difficult to be calm, even for adults in a situation like this, but that they should be rest assured that the government is not sleeping. I monitor the ministry on hourly basis, and they are not sleeping. They are working on the Sumy issue, and I'm sure soonest this agreement will be reached, and the students will be evacuated to safety, just like is happening in other parts of Ukraine.
Right. Honorable, maybe by way of information to Daniel and the over 300 Nigerians still in Sumy. So the word was they were meant to be evacuated this morning by 9 a.m. and it's almost 9 already. Daniel says it has been cancelled. And I imagine the apprehension, the confusion, especially when you're not hearing a reason as to why the evacuation, the planned evacuation was cancelled. So by way of an update, so they understand what's happening, do you have an idea why that evacuation was cancelled?
Well, I don't want to say evacuation is cancelled yet because it's still within the time, though I have not made any contact this morning. But as of yesterday night, the plan is that the evacuation will take place this morning around 9. But as we said, we are not in a normal situation, so a delay within some hours will not be too abnormal. But after this interview, I will make contact with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and get updated with what is really happening. But as of up to yesterday night, the arrangements were in top gear, and I pray and I hope that it is not cancelled, something will pursue us.
Well, even as at that, we understand the foreign affairs minister, in a message he put out on Twitter, had raised a challenge of procuring vehicles to move the students. Could that be part of the reason for the delay?
Well, I will not know what is the reason for the delay since I have not spoken with the minister this morning. But as of yesterday, what they were trying to achieve was to get a tripartite arrangement, and I think that was achieved as of yesterday. But for this morning, I won't know why there is a slight delay. But I hope if it is just for vehicles, that will be definitely overcome. The ministry are working, and I am confident that this evacuation will take place, and all our students will be evacuated to safety by the grace of God.
Just to be clear, Honorable, this tripartite arrangement you talked about is between who and who?
Between the Ukrainian government, the United Nations, and the Russian government. So that, like the young man said, some of the students that tried to go out on their own were asked to go back either by the Russian government or by the Ukrainian government. He was not sure. So the whole place is under control of either the Ukrainians or the Russians. And the United Nations is also talking to both parties to see that this safe corridor is made available so that all civilians that want to move out safely without any accidents. So that is why it is very important in situations like this to remain calm and keep talking with the coordinating authorities before making any moves. And I am sure that these students will be safe. And since their situations is fully being taken care of by both the Ukrainian authorities, the school authorities, and also the Nigerian government, specifically the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I am sure with a little patience, we will come over it very soon.
Well, Honorable, it's just, almost 8 a.m. here in Nigeria, meaning that it's about 9 a.m. there in Sumi. But it's quite reassuring to hear you say that that evacuation plan is still on, even though a bit delayed. But we're due for a break now. But when we return, we'd like to hear just how dicey this situation is, getting that tripartite agreement, getting, the governments on board. I'm talking about the government of Ukraine, Russia, and the UN. I mean, don't forget there's been a lot of controversy around that. So perhaps also by way of information to understand what's going on, we'd like to get some insight into that as well as other issues in a moment. So please stay with us. Closing moment with Honorable Yusuf Buba, who is the chairman of Foreign Affairs Committee at the House of Representatives, and Daniel Boro Ejimade, who is a medical student in Sumi State University, Ukraine. So, Honorable, just before we went on that break, I was trying to get a sense of how dicey this is, because I know there was the agreement, or there was said to be that agreement during the peace talks to have a safe corridor for evacuation and supplies and all that. But then both countries are accusing each other of breaking that agreement, as it were. Russia saying, well, it was Ukraine that broke it. Ukraine saying it was you that fired, and all of that. So how tricky is getting the students out, the Nigerians who are stuck in Sumi right now?
That is why for every responsible government must be sure that there is a concrete arrangement between the three parties. The Ukrainian government, the Russians, and then bringing in the United Nations to be sure that there is a deal before moving these students, because we don't want to take chances with the lives of our students. So the best bet now is to try to calm down the students while governments try to secure this agreement between the two parties with the United Nations being part of it, then safety of the students will be guaranteed to be moved. So I'm sure that will be reached because none of these governments want to hurt any civilian deliberately, both the Russian and the Ukrainian governments. None of them want any civilian to be hurt. So I am sure to avoid any controversies or accidents, that is why our government, under the supervision of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, wants to make sure that the corridor is safe before movement. This will be done, it will be achieved. It just needs a little more of patience from all parties. But I am very, very sure it will be achieved. And no single child will be hurt. Everybody will be evacuated to safety.
Well, the case of Sumi, the case of Sumi is quite delicate because it's very close to Russia. But I just want to know quickly, what kind of assurances are you getting from the Ukrainian government and the Russian government in getting those students out? Because it's important to know their state of mind.
Channels TV go.
Okay, I think that was Daniel, but go ahead, Honorable.
That's why I'm saying our government have been up and doing. They have not been sleeping. They have been working around the clock, making contact with all parties. And I want to assure you that before they will start moving the students, they must be definitely sure that the corridors are safe and these children will be moved to safety. We are close to that, and it will be achieved the soonest, by the grace of God.